This is devastating news for Wellington.
You know, sometimes it just takes one player to get their, roll their sleeves up.
She just goes yoink and has a go with both of them.
All roads lead to Amy Park just 2 days before Christmas. It's a Ninja A-League Melbourne derby. It might work out delightfully! Magic from the back, and Melbourne City have turned around a derby deficit.
Clever pass. Paige Zoyce will hit it this time! Oh, what a goal! It's a brilliant turn from Erin Healy. Oh, this is wonderful! A five-star Reds display in attack.
Into midfield, shot from distance, oh my goodness!
That is an absolute bomb.
And it's three! Polias in space! Surely nothing more than consolation at this stage. Well, can Melbourne Victory do the unthinkable? In behind is Ella O'Grady! Ella O'Grady in behind! Oh my goodness! It is a Christmas miracle in Gosford!
Have we ever seen anything like this?
Nice little innovative touch. Dale bears down on goal. Lead with one more job to do. Canberra United in the die-in moments. In transition, McNamara, great first touch. McNamara, fantastic second. Holly McNamara completes her hat-trick. Falls to her perfectly. And it's Samba on the spot. Listen to the crowd erupt.
Rasmussen!
And the Wanderers have their equaliser.
Piazza! It's a curler!
It's the captain, Izzy Dalton.
Oh, wow! Adelaide breaks through.
Chinaza Uchendu announces herself to the Ninja A-League.
And that she does, and we've had a bit of everything over the Christmas New Year break, haven't we? Plenty of games and plenty of goals. Hello and welcome to Dub Zone. I'm Amy Duggan, joined as always by A-League's commentator Teo Pellizzeri and Sydney FC legend Teresa Polias. Welcome back to the desk and welcome to the new year.
Thanks, Amy. Happy New Year.
Yeah, plenty to get over the last 2 weeks. Teo, football, but what have been your moments, guys? T, let's start with you.
My moment has to be Melbourne Victory's comeback to draw with the Mariners. They were 3-0 down, and in pretty much injury time, we saw the first goal roll in, and then they came back to equalise. It was incredible viewing.
They nearly got a fourth too. They had a chance.
They actually ended up going for the win, ran out of time, but wow, they turned things on in those final moments, and it was so entertaining. A really great comeback.
Well, my moment of the Christmas period was the Melbourne derby. Melbourne City coming from behind to win, the cleverness of the free kick routine, Letitia McKenna finding Holly McNamara. And after the game, Melbourne City said this was in our plans. We had the sneak attack along the ground was something we had saved up specifically for Melbourne Victory and their aerial defence. So they went underground and they found a way to win the derby.
You knew the minute that Melbourne City lined up a free kick that it was likely they were going to score. They have a lot of success off free kicks, but that one I think even took me by surprise the way they played it in short and around the back. It was a beautiful moment. And
it reflected a really high quality game. I think that match so far in terms of the technical ability and just the contest between the two teams was the game of the season so far.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, I've been a little bit greedy, as we all are, over the Christmas New Year period and picked 2 moments over the past couple of weeks. Starting with this one, Peter Trimmis versus Victory from outside the box. Great first touch with the right foot and just, well, that's in the cobwebs, isn't it, T? Right up there. And then the second one is actually Ava Piazza from outside the box. Not a great clearance there against Wellington, but she picks up the ball and just buries it. So I was hoping you two could help me split them.
I've got to say, the amount of goals we saw over the period was fantastic, and the quality you just saw in the Trimmis and Piazza bombs from range. I mean, It's hard to differentiate between the two and pick one that's better, but yeah, really quality stuff.
If I had to pick one, I would say Trimmis. Just the spectacular way Courtney Newbond dives for the save as well makes the goal as it nestles in the top corner.
It was just like the little box sitting in the top corner for the ball to go right in. It was absolutely fabulous. Erin Healy could have been up there as well, but we are going to kick things off with Melbourne City because it's been a bit of a stop-start campaign for them with the AFC commitments, putting a few games behind behind the rest of the season. We know 3 games I think they've got to catch up at the moment. But when Holly Mack hit the field, I don't know, it's like a switch flicked over the Christmas New Year period and they just started scoring goals.
Yeah, they're really looking the goods for me. I think they're ready now to let loose in the Ninja A-League, to be honest. I think they've had really good time away as a team bonding, and I think it's going to benefit them now coming back and catching up on the ladder, which they're looking to do calmly and comfortably.
This was a bit of an arm wrestle of a game, T, but Holly McNamara, that's only the 8th time Kirsty Fenton's been beaten in the air all season. And then Chinaza Uchendu, last time we were at this panel, we spoke about how they were missing Speckmeyer and Bosch, and Uchendu is growing into the season, and this is a massive moment in terms of the confidence, but also in terms of the skill set showing us what she can do.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see that her physicality is one of her traits that she uses out there, and she just sort of, bumped off Willa Pearson quite easily there. Maybe took advantage of her youth there, but really great player for the City to have out there, complimenting Holly Mack and learning from Holly Mack too.
Well, Holly Mack, of course, the provider for the assist to that win there, but they also were very dominant against Perth with a hat-trick to Holly Mack. When she's playing well, the team's playing well.
What a Christmas period for Holly McNamara. Scores the winner in the derby and then follows that up with a hat-trick at Amy Park T. I mean, the quality of play from Melbourne City during this run is them at their best, and we know that they've got the games in hand. They don't win themselves, but when you've got Holly McNamara in this sort of form, is she unstoppable?
She is unstoppable. She's class above. I put her up there this season to me with Samba and Rasmussen. I think they're the 3 standouts for me. One question I would put to City, though, are they reliant too much on Holly Mack? We need to see more scorers, I think.
One good thing is that she's committed for the rest of the campaign. She wants to win the Champions League with Melbourne City. She won't be leaving during the January transfer window. And believe me, there's been interest, and there's been interest at league record prices. And the Mac has said, I'm staying for the rest of the campaign.
So she's with us for the rest of the season, Teo?
Yes.
Good news for Ninja A-League fans. Fans of Sydney FC might not be smiling as much, obviously going down only by the 1 goal to Melbourne City. This was a much improved performance for them, but still not getting the job done. 4 games now, 3 losses, and more importantly, no goals in those 4 games.
Yeah, we've certainly hit that sort of concern territory for sure for Sydney. And let's not forget, City are a team they always step up against as well. So for me, there are a few, issues for them, and I'm sure they're looking at.
What's the most important one to resolve then, T? Where do you start? They've got Adelaide on Friday. Is it personnel? Is it how they play? Because I actually thought in the first half of this game, some of their passing combinations and the way they kept possession was as good as we've seen this season. It's just they seem to save their best for Melbourne City, and then the drop-off when they play against other teams is quite stark.
And that's the issue, because I don't see enough urgency out there against every single team. When the City game comes up, it sort of naturally brings it out of Sydney because those two have been the league's leaders for so long. But I'm not seeing that desperation, that urgency week in, week out when things are going well, when things aren't going well. And a good example of that was that, 7-0 drubbing against Wellington Phoenix. So perhaps it comes down to leadership, Teo. I'm not 100% sure, but who's out there leading things? Who's out there taking charge and getting?
I guess to that point, you're missing Nat Tobin at the back. So you're bringing in Willa as a 15-year-old. Is she speaking like Nat would?
You can't expect that from Willa, but there's enough out there.
Also got Macca on the bench at the moment, so missing that leadership as well. Sarah Hunter's come in. She's a new captain, new to the club. They've had a few changes. Is that all part of what's going on?
I think there's enough players out there with enough experience to step up. I'm not saying every player needs to step up, and pretend they're wearing a captain's armband, but sometimes it just takes one player to roll their sleeves up and pull up a few big tackles to get everyone revved up. And this is their season on the line again. They're dropping further and further down the ladder, and with that comes the drop in your confidence as well. So I am concerned for Sydney.
One little positive, I know they haven't scored for 4 games, but first start for Sky Halmerick. She was engaging and winning physical duels against Taylor Otto straight away. One of the premier centre-backs in the league. So, yes, the goals aren't there, but I feel like they've got to persist with Sky as a starter because she hadn't been too effective coming off the bench. Only 17 years old, let's not forget. Yes. But as a starter, I think that's worth persisting with.
Well, she's shown at NPL level she can put them away. So Sydney are getting into good areas. They did against City, but putting them away, they've got to put them away.
Lots of final third entries. balls in the box. Sometimes the quality of the cross not where we would expect it to be, but ultimately it's about finishing.
We know Ante will try new things when things aren't going well. So, yeah, if he sticks with Halmaric and gives her a go, I think, yeah, that's a promising sign.
Well, Adelaide next up for them. But let's go to Brisbane because they got their hearts broken as Brooke Nunn's shot cross went over the top and looped in late in stoppage time. A couple of goals here that Chloe Lincoln would probably want back.
Yeah, look, we're talking about the Matildas backup keeper. She's in the Matildas squad. And a few of those, yeah, she'd certainly lose sleep over, I think, you know, especially when the likes of Sally James, she's playing out of her skin. So, yeah, some concerning signs there. Really easy goals for the opposition, which the Raw do not need at this point.
On the game itself, who do you think was actually the better team, or was a draw a fair reflection of the game?
I think so. I think the shift in momentum went both ways for me. I think maybe
I would put it to you.
The Raw had the edge, being at home as well. You know, great crowd there as well. But yeah, to me, they're letting teams in with soft goals.
Raw scored their only 2 shots on target. So yes, there's no Grace Quilamu.
That's a great conversion rate.
There's no Grace Quilamu. There's no Tamiki Yallop. But they're not creating a high volume of chances. Benty Jansen has not scored in a couple of games now. I just wonder, Wellington had to huff and puff to scrape a draw against a team that scored their only 2 shots.
Let's give Wellington some credit, though, because this is the first time they've ever got a point against Brisbane in Brisbane. 10 goals in 2 matches against both the Sydney teams. Is this the year that Wellington will crack the finals?
Look, I feel like we have this conversation every season and I jinx them. So I'm not prepared to say yes. I'm not convinced yet. But yeah, it's great that they're actually scoring goals and the confidence is high and they're travelling away and getting points. You know, when you mentioned it's the first point against Brisbane, that's huge for them. So I think they'll take a lot of confidence from that. And I think, yeah, no, I'm not going to say.
Teo, are they going to be in the top?
Yeah, they will. They'll make it. But I think they shouldn't necessarily be too happy that it took them until the 8th minute of stoppage time and it took 2 goalkeeping errors for them to leave with a share of the points.
Fair enough. We were talking about the Raw and you mentioned young gun Grace Quilamu, who went down with a suspected ACL and definitely a knee injury during that game. Any news on that?
The club's going to make a formal announcement on Thursday, depending on when you're watching this, and we are fearing the worst. It's her good knee, so not the knee that she injured in the 2023-24 season. You could see the body language, because they do the on-field tests, and they had to sub her as a result. It was pretty innocuous, and it's just sad because she had come back so well from the first ACL, scored in that very game on New Year's Eve. Her strike rate for a player her age is up there with some of the best we've ever seen in the A-League Women's, and she's just a natural talent, and it's just so heartbreaking that we've got Holly Mack 3 ACLs, Grace potentially 2, Indiana Dos Santos out with an ACL. These are the gems in the crown of our next generation of players, and they're all hurt.
Can we talk about how this might affect her career in the future? Because the form that she was in, she was looking at representative honours. This is going to be probably a 12-month setback, but potentially longer.
Yeah, look,
what does that do for aspirations of higher honours now and chances and career chances in the future?
Look, I'm not going to write her off. She's a fantastic player, and you look at Holly Mack, who's come back, you know, after 3, and she's in the best form of her career. So certainly Quilamu can come back. It's just the timing of it that's disappointing for her. You know, there's an Asian Cup around the corner, which she was in contention to be selected, and she's, you know, was peaking in form. So yeah, look, you can see by her reaction, most players when they've done their knee again know. You know, fingers crossed it's not that as serious, but I think she'll take a lot of confidence seeing Holly Mack have come back and
well, there's plenty of players.
Yeah, and I think the players around her will support her through that. Players from other clubs, Holly Mack, I'm sure, would reach out and, you know, help her out as well. So, you know, most players come back bigger and stronger, so something to look forward to for her.
And Wellington, of course, got their own player sidelined at the moment. We are now going to hear from Wellington Phoenix player Ellie Walker.
I think our identity as a team is to be aggressive and to fight and commit to what we're doing, and that is from the very beginning to the end, and that is through the ups and the downs. We haven't conceded a lot of goals so far this season, so I think that was a different obstacle for us, but I think it's a testament to what we are, who we are, and what we're trying to do here. That's what we're trying to do this season, make some history for Wellington and New Zealand.
Yes, Wellington not looking to make history this season. And speaking of the Knicks, we welcome A-League's reporter Nalin Mastou to the desk. You've been following Samba and her trip to Wonderland.
I have. I'm even wearing yellow for Wellington Phoenix, and just before the New Year's, we saw the Samba show come to Western Sydney. Thousands of fans packed out Wanderers Football Park to watch her in action, and she did not disappoint. So, of course, we had to send our crew over there to catch all the action. So let's delve a little bit deeper into what happened in that game. Football Park in Western Sydney is affectionately known by locals as Wonderland. But when Wellington Phoenix came to town, it was Samba land. Samba! More than 1,600 fans rolled up to catch a glimpse of their hero.
She's born in Nepal, so anyone from Nepal is always good.
And we support Samba.
And she's the beacon of hope in Nepalese women's football, and she's here doing amazing thing, being the lethal striker she's meant to be.
I'm also from Nepal. We love her too.
And after scoring a brace in Wellington's record 7-0 demolition of Sydney last time out, hopes were high Samba would add to her tally. Amongst the faithful was the state's honorary consul of Nepal, who brought along his family to witness football royalty in the flesh.
She's the first player of Nepalese origin to be in A-League. We're so proud of her. You can see, I think probably half of the crowd has, come here to attend the event. Of course, but because of Samba, right? You can see young kids who are born here, especially Nepalese origin kids, and other kids as well, what it means to them. Right? And when they see crowd, when they see support, I think that really encourages them, inspires them.
Once the match kicked off, the crowd cheered every one of Samba's touches, and they didn't have to wait long for her to make a meaningful impact.
Dropping to Samba, and it's Emma Main who's on the spot, can steer it into the back of the net for the Wellington Phoenix.
Early in the second half, Samba delivered what they all came to see.
Searching for a Phoenix shirt. Samba falls to her perfectly, and it's Samba on the spot.
Moments later, she was in the thick of the action once again.
Samba, great speed, centering pass to Emma Main, and for her second of the afternoon.
Full time brought another groundswell of emotion and celebration as Wellington retained the coveted Sister City Cup against the Wanderers. Plus, a chance for the adoring crowd to meet their idol. Autographs, selfies, and photo opportunities continued for almost an hour after sealing the win. Samba intent on giving back to every one of her supporters in Sydney's West, a dedication admired by her coach.
I think you can see what she brings to the league. I think for us it helps us on the road, right? It feels like we've got that home support. She looked electric tonight. I think she doesn't just score goals, she causes havoc for her backline. I think sometimes that brings other players into the game, and she's super humble, and I think that's a great quality for a top player. I think it was very forward-thinking from the club to support a recruitment for someone as good as Samba, and to know that she's at this club for 2 years is excellent.
So the sky is the limit for Samba and her loving fans, as the Knicks set their sights on a maiden finals appearance in their 5th season in the Ninja A-League. Unreal scenes out at Wanderers Football Park. We hope to see that in every single Ninja A-League game, but usually at this point of the show, Teo, speaking about Samba, you got your Nepalese flag out, but it's not with you anymore. Where is it?
We've had to dive into the footage to do a little bit of detective work here. So this is the flag, and you may notice that there's a very similar flag here being held by Samba pre-game as she goes and celebrates with the Nepalese fans, and then yoink!
Oh.
And one very lucky fan has a very famous flag as a piece of memorabilia. But yes, that's the magic of football sometimes. Easy come, easy go.
Teo, we hope you finally get your flag back. Whichever fan has it out there, tag Dub Zone because we'd love to know who it is. But unfortunately, on a more serious note, Samba will be out for the rest of the season with a knee injury. This is devastating news for Wellington as they'll look to regroup. I mean, Teresa, Teo, how big of an impact is this going to have on the team at the moment?
Well, let's go through the details. You see the incident there. Chloe Lincoln, impact injury. Samba, of course, already had the bandages around that knee. High-grade MCL tear, a new meniscal tear, and the rupture of an ACL graft. You heard from Bev Priestman there in the package say she is on a 2-year contract, so she can do her rehab at the Wellington Phoenix, but it's season ending. It's bad for the Phoenix on the pitch in terms of making finals. It is devastating for the league in terms of the cultural movement that Samba was engineering in the Nepalese diaspora for Australia. People were Googling the census and finding out how many Nepalese lived in their city each week of the season as the Phoenix came to visit. I mean, this is heartbreaking stuff on a number of levels.
It truly is just devastating to see the contact there. You could see her knee go in, and for the league, you know, it's been so exciting watching Samba week in, week out. She started scoring, she's in good form, the communities have come together, so really sad on that front, but good to hear she's on a 2-year contract, because that means we'll get to see her again. So there is light at the end of the tunnel, and the experience she has, I'm sure she'll get back and bigger and better.
Yeah, you saw her walk off the field there, clenching her fist, knowing that something wasn't quite right, but to hear the impact of it it's absolutely devastating, as you said, not just for the Knicks, not just for herself, but also for the league.
Now, the Phoenix, they already had an injury replacement for Tessel Middag lined up. A foreign player, Michaela Woods, has signed most recently in Iceland. I watched her, admittedly, her own highlight reel that she self-published, but a lot of college D1 goals, really fast, explosive into space. And interestingly, I mean, they'd committed to this signing before the Samba injury, but I would liken her to Samba in the way she plays, breaking the lines, able to get into open field using her speed. So the Phoenix do have an injury replacement player that's coming in Michaela Woods, and hopefully she can make a positive impact on the current season, where they still have so much to play for.
Another import in the league, and I believe you're going to tell us about another import.
Yes, absolutely. American goalkeeper Heather Hinz. She's quite the character, and in her post-match interview, she spoke about how she's feeling about a lot of the younger players coming through the team at the moment, and apparently her teammates have given her a new label, so let's have a listen.
Yeah, actually it's wild. I came from a team where I was one of the youngest and they called me kid all the time, so it's definitely a weird experience being one of the old ones on the team, and they call me Unk, so that's kind of unfortunate, but...
Unk status at 24 years of age. I don't know what that means for the rest of us, but Teresa, you were a young player when you were bursting onto the scene, and then slowly became more of the senior, more experienced players. Do you remember what that switch felt like, and that transition where suddenly everyone's coming up to you for advice, and now you're sort of the elderly figure within the
elderly,
team?
that's for sure. But yeah, the word Unk wasn't around at the time. But yeah, I quickly became that kind of vice captain to start with, and I remember, you know, having the task of looking after the youngsters, the young Caitlin Ford and Sam Kerr. They were really young then, because, you know, you're travelling away with a team. You've got kids that are 14, 15 at the time. So yeah, I was always kind of bit more mature and motherly type teacher. So yeah, I had that task of looking after the young ones, and yeah, it was fun. The kids were good. They were good.
Imagine, Teo, we've got Unks and old people, and then there's us. We're ancient.
Well, the good news for Heather Hinz is that Unk still got it, because she actually did play pretty well in the game.
She did.
There you go, 24 years of age. She's still not past her prime. Now, one of the younger players who she was referring to was Claire Corbett. She became the 5th youngest player in the Ninja A-League to debut for Sydney FC at just 15 years of age. Did not look out of place at all. And we actually found some footage of Academy Football Tech. Have a look at this. Absolute baller even at that age. I mean, this is incredible that we have this. And Teo, I mean, she's already becoming kind of one of the players that we're going to have our eyes on. How early do you think you can already point out the talent in a youngster, even at that age?
It's interesting because she was player of the tournament in the under-14s at what is now the Emerging Matildas Championship in 2023. So she would have been playing up into the 14s as, a 12-year-old turning 13.
That's huge. Yeah.
So, I mean, I was shocked when I found out her date of birth was October, meaning that the entire NPL season, you know, more than 20 appearances, 3 goals for MacArthur Rams. She did that all as a 14-year-old playing senior NPL. And I mean, I've seen her at the Emerging Matildas Championship. She has a great command of space. Just because she has the same red hair as Colette McCallum, it's very easy to make the comparison to a previous
the technicality
Matilda.
Too,
I don't think she's got the thick Scottish accent quite like Colette McCallum, but look, she's a very exciting prospect. I'm not purely saying that out of redhead solidarity. I think she's a fantastic young talented. Good on Sydney FC for identifying the chance to bring her into a game, and hopefully she builds her minutes in a steady fashion and is able to really grow into a career.
She had been part of the Sydney FC development squad for a couple of years now, obviously in training with the senior squad for this season, I believe the back end of last season. So good to see her getting out on the paddock, and a name no doubt we'll keep our eyes on for years to come, Nalin.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for bringing to light many of the stories, not the Samba news, not news we wanted to hear, but the rest of it great. And as Nalin said, if you know where the flag is, tag Dub Zone, because Teo would like it back. We're going to head to Cooper's Stadium now.
Erin Healy keeps her footing and keeps possession to shoot. That's within her range. Oh, wow! A team goal, Condon, Dorba, and Adelaide break through first.
Back-to-back wins for Adelaide, and Emily Condon putting that one away to make it 2 on the trot. We had been a little bit concerned about the Reds early on this season, not quite showing the form up front that they had previous year, but with the winner, the defending champs, and now putting 5 past the Wanderers, is the attack starting to click?
Yeah, look, I think they've started the new year really well. I still think there's a lot to be desired. I think they've played the Mariners at a good time where the Mariners are in need of a bit of a break, to be quite honest. But look, a result's a result. It's a good start to the new year for Adelaide. And I just think they're still trying to click with a new coach, to me. They're used. You know, they had Stenter for such a long time. I think they're just still trying to find their way. They've still got a lot of the same personnel. So the quality's out there. They just need to find their way under new management.
Theo Siunis did a much lower profile version of what Bev Priestman did. He promised the goals were around the corner, and they went and scored 5 against the Western Sydney Wanderers. Now, they only scored 1 against the Mariners. And watching this game back start to finish, I think a lot of the credit in this game has to go to the goalkeeper switch to bring in Ilona Mele, because she's probably going to be the starting goalkeeper for the young Matildas come the Asian Cup in April for the under-20s. But she was crucial in keeping Adelaide in this game, and they got better as the game went on. I think as the heat went out of the game, as the tempo slowed down, the real concern is that the Mariners played through Adelaide so much in the first half. We're talking end-to-end transitions on a regular basis. And I feel as though Central Coast left 3 points on the table here. They created not an overwhelming number of chances, but I think they definitely created enough chances to win. And the goalkeeping of Mele kept Adelaide in the game.
She was outstanding, and what a great gem they have for the future, to be honest, because they have been leaking goals, and I do put it down to the Mariners as well, being quite fatigued at this point. But I know we'll chat about the Mariners. But look, a result's a result. They desperately need to build a bit of confidence, Adelaide. And yeah, with Mele at the back there, I mean, it starts with your keeper, doesn't it, Amy?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just about shot stopping, is it? It's about organisation and talking, making sure your six is in the right channel where they need to be, and that your defenders are doing their job.
What I'm saying is it's a results business. Take the result and run.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Don't take the performances evidence that maybe things have turned as far as you might suspect. This game against Sydney coming up, this made their season last year. This was the last minute equaliser for Sydney FC, only for Adelaide then to turn around and score in stoppage time, and that really galvanised them as a team. If they can do that away to Sydney again, I feel like, 3 wins in a row, their season would be on the upswing after that.
It really sets that game up against Sydney, doesn't it? I think for both teams, they're both desperate. So, yeah, the opportunity for both there to get their season on track, well and truly, I think it's going to be a huge game.
Well, Adelaide heading to Sydney for that match on Friday night, while the Mariners will head up the freeway for the F3 derby, but they are going to have to do it without Izzy Gomez, Teo.
Yeah, pretty devastating to lose her. First player this season to reach 5 yellow cards for a suspension. She's also the league leader with 5 assists, so her value to the Mariners is massive. You see here, she gets the yellow card, and when we see the close-up, you'll notice it was double trouble because Izzy Gomez got a hold of both Tarantos. You tell me which one the foul is on here, T. She just goes yoink and has a go with both of them.
Twins, so she's sharing it there.
To be fair to Izzy, I thought the foul was on her first.
Well, this is reflective of the frustration
because
she, I think, got into a bit of a dialogue with Izzy Cooper. She was doing the Michael Valkanis, the sarcastic clapping a few times after refereeing decisions. And I'm sure she knows after that yellow that she's missing the next game.
This has been coming over the last few weeks. I've called a couple of her games and I feel like as much as she wears her heart on her sleeve, which is fantastic, I think she needs to rein it in when it comes to letting her frustrations go because, I don't think she's managing them well enough. And yes, she got fouled first there, I believe, but I think she let the frustration get the better of her and now her team's without her and they need her. She's a key player for the Mariners and she needs to be out there week in, week out, creating things and scoring goals. So it's something, it's an area of her game. As good as she is, she needs to work on that.
Always something to improve, but don't let it become a liability. I think that was the message I just heard. Now, Teo, you're going to walk us through something because there are high stakes on the line with this fabulous piece of guardrail that is up for grabs on the weekend. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if the Jets manage to win this one by 3, we could have something we've never seen before in our hands.
Yes, a home and away penalty shootout. So the first time around it was 4-1 to the Mariners. It's the aggregate winner takes the guardrail. So you could have the scenario where Newcastle wins 2-0 and the Mariners walk off demoralised at having lost the game with the guardrail that they had to take home with them. So I suspect the Mariners, they always lift for the F3 derby. Newcastle won the very first one on Central Coast's readmission back into the league, but the Mariners have been the better team and the scorelines have actually got out of hand. Like Cass Davis for the Jets after their game said that the last time we played in the derby it got ugly for us. And the last season was the game where Claudia Chico got sent off and they conceded 5. So this is a vital game for both teams, and yes, we could see a penalty shootout if Newcastle wins by 3 to tie it up on aggregate.
It could happen. Newcastle are having a pretty good season. I think both teams are physical teams, so we're likely to see tempers flaring a bit. So you never know what's going to happen in this game, but hopefully there's goals galore, and that'd be cool to see a penalty shootout in a regular season, wouldn't it?
Yeah, drama sounds like it's absolutely coming our way. And sorry, Mariners fans, but I do actually want to have a look at this unique situation. So I want to see also what happens on Friday night in Perth when the Western Sydney Wanderers travel over west. What do you make of the glory for this one, Teo?
Well, they have not conceded a goal at Sam Kerr Football Centre this season. 3 1-0 wins in a row, T, and their win against Newcastle was no exception. This pass here from Adelaide tries to pick out Dundas in midfield. It gets picked off by the Perth midfield and they run it back in. Look how out of position everyone is. So Newcastle trying to play out from the back, got exploited, and Perth set a trap and Newcastle walked into it.
Well, it's that quick transition where they've got the type of players to capitalise there, and they certainly did, and they've been doing that. And 1-0's 1-0, clean sheets. So it's become their fortress there. So really big, tough ask for the Wanderers travelling, I think.
And we did say we'd judge them on their home form, which we can at the moment. 3 wins from their last 4, only, of course, losing to City. But I want to turn to the Wanderers because they snagged a point against the ladder leaders Canberra, and it was all thanks to 17-year-old Millie Bennett. Have we unlocked something here?
Well, I wanted to ask you, you were on the commentary for this, T. When they subbed off Ella Buchanan, who's been, I think, their XG leader, playing as a fullback this season, they subbed off Chisari, who we know is a workhorse. The fresh legs came on, they get them the goal. I think there's a bit of positional indiscipline from Canberra to leave Bennett as a new sub totally unmarked like that. But the Wanderers, is this proof that their very narrow system with no wingers relying on the wing backs is working, or was this just well-timed subs to catch out Canberra as a one-off?
This was a good game. It was an even match. Canberra scored early and we sort of said, uh-oh, here we go again. But credit to the Wanderers, they played themselves back into the game and I thought actually dominated the game and could have come away with it. Those 3 subs that came on, Bennett included, changed the game. Not to say the players that went off did anything poorly. They were good. They set up the game. They controlled the game. But the 3 that came on linked up really well. Bennett was outstanding. She put herself... And to stay onside for such a youngster in that position, how many times do players get caught offside in that position? So she did really well to stay onside. She then made a game-saving tackle back in their box as well. So I thought it was great coaching from Jeff Abrahams to bring on the players he did, and they combined very well and gave something different to the game. And the Wanderers, they had a few chances there that like I said, they could have won that match.
Wanderers have only won one game. They are bottom of the ladder, and they're 9 games into the season. It took them 15 games last season to get to 2 wins. Do you think they are actually better this season than last season? Do you think they can... They only won 4 games for the entire season and won the wooden spoon. They're sitting there again. Do you think they are actually improved? Because the names on paper are different.
Yeah.
But you've seen them firsthand a couple of times.
Every time I watch them, they seem to play well. So
you should just be going to all their games then.
But truly, what I think is they do have a few foreigners as well that perhaps language barrier is there as well. So I think they are a better whole squad as a whole. Let's not forget Chloe Berryhill's there too, so she's going to kick in soon as well. I do think they have a better squad overall this season, and I don't think it'll take them to 15 games to get another win or 2.
Well, they are sitting right on the bottom of the ladder at the moment as we do take a look at Canberra United, top of the table at the moment, 18 points. They have played all 10 games. Melbourne City might be sitting second, 3 games in hand. That's a potential 6 points right there. City, Central Coast Mariners, Phoenix, and then we drop down to the bottom half. Brisbane, Adelaide, Newcastle Jets. Is anyone going to make a move, Teo?
Well, this is why the Sydney versus Adelaide game is so important. Like, 3 points could jump you into the finals. You know that Perth's got Wanderers at home later that night. It's a really good Friday night doubleheader to kick off the weekend.
Yeah, and what better place to watch it than on Paramount Plus, of course. The Phoenix then taking on Melbourne City on Saturday afternoon in Wellington, a 2 p.m kickoff there. The Jets, Central Coast Mariners next, and we round out our weekend with Melbourne Victory and the Brisbane Roar. And just for an extra taste, Sydney FC and the Jets will play on the Tuesday, the 13th at Leichhardt Oval as well, so you can bookend your long weekend of sport with a couple of Sydney FC matches. What's the match looking out for besides the Sydney-Adelaide one?
I want to see if Wellington can finally break through against Melbourne City. It was only 1-0, a controlled cyber pitch. Melbourne City has won all 7 meetings between the teams. We saw them beat Victory for the first time this season at Porirua Park. Will Melbourne City suffer the same fate?
Interesting to be done without Samba. T?
I feel like the round's a bit of a 6-pointer for everyone. I'm saying eeny, meeny, miny, mo between these, but I've got to pick the Sydney-Adelaide. I think there's a lot at stake in this match, and obviously, you know, I love to watch a Sydney game here and there. So
are they finally going to score? Are they going to avoid 5 games without a goal?
They're going to score, Teo. It's going to happen.
Okay, all right.
The breakthrough's got to come at some stage. You heard it first from Teresa. Teresa and Teo, thank you so much for your time on Dub Zone today. Get your tickets at alegs.com.au. Get out there and watch a game, or you can catch all the action online. I'm Amy Duggan. Thanks for your time this week. We'll see you next week.